think this is an analogy I would say. I'm like, if like an alien life form was to look down at Earth, right, and was like, all right, we're gonna take over Earth, and it's like, we're gonna send like a figure to infiltrate like different industries or like the government or something, right?
Right.
We're gonna create like an android, right? Dude, Wonyoung would be that figure in the K-pop industry because like, and also, and the reason why that is I'll say this.
All right. Let's begin. So Aespa, Mama, JYPn, and more. Hello to everybody tuned in. You're listening to Offbeat Koreans. My name is Insider. I'm your host, and I'm joined with BM and Dubious, who will be sharing their takes on today's topic. So today we're just going to be talking about kind of the past news of this week, as well as some other headlines. Make sure to check out the video description below to see all the topics that we'll be covering. And if you're interested in watching some of our previous podcasts, check it out on our YouTube channel. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe. First things first, this was kind of mentioned in last week's topic, but Aespa was in New York, and we got to see more of what they did this week, which was they went on a late night show called Trevor Noah. They didn't actually appear with Trevor Noah. It was one of the guys that he works with, and this was where they did that show on the double-decker bus throughout New York. It was like a small skit. The guy kind of acts like a scam tour, and the girls are just kind of following along. I kind of want to ask you guys: do you guys actually watch these kind of skits? Like, did you think it fit the girls? Dubious, because I know you said you watch Trevor Noah sometimes. I was wondering kind of how it sat with you.
So I honestly never like it that much when like, okay, so in the beginning when like K-pop groups were like coming out on shows, I think like one of the bigger ones was like SNSD were like performing on like some late night, I forget, and they were gonna perform. I remember that being like a big news. But ever since then, like I never liked it because I felt like it was kind of a like they didn't truly understand like what K-pop is, but they're doing it because they feel like it's like the new fad.
Right.
And so honestly, like if we weren't going to cover this topic, I don't know if I would have watched it, but I did end up watching it though.
Yeah. Because I think one of the other things that we also have to point out is there's like that huge language barrier, and like most of these girls, either like it would have to be scripted, or they would kind of rely on like Giselle, who's like the only English speaker.
Dude,
Yeah,
most of
I
the
guess.
girls just didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. What about your any thoughts?
Like so the guy who was emceeing, his name's Roy Wood Jr. I've never heard of him. I just found out through this segment. But like there was a lot of jokes that he was making where it just went completely over their heads.
Yeah.
Like he was talking about how like, oh, look at that pigeon, it's from Home Alone, or like hey, like do you hear the sirens? It's like the soundtrack of New York. Like, and the girls were just like laughing, but like it's all going over their heads, you know. Most likely, I mean, Giselle probably understands the joke and was probably just like hyping it up. But Winter in the back's just like every time they're laughing, she gets a cue and she starts laughing. You know, like yeah.
Now that you say it, I think the seating orientation that they're in right now, it's like it's meant in that manner.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, BMI agreed where it's like I think the English proficiency is like Giselle, Ningning, Karina, and the Winter.
VM, how do you think Karina and Winter felt on these kind of US shows?
I think they have their own fun. I think Winter kind of seems like the person to kind of like have a good time by themselves. And Karina,
she's a loner.
No, like she's able to like make fun, like by herself. And like Karina is like the type to like kind of like play along, so like go along with the flow. So I think they're fine. I think like regarding the show, yeah, like a lot of the jokes like went over the girls' heads. But like I feel like it's like more geared towards like a general public as a demographic, so like kind of makes sense for them to like have jokes like that.
Yeah.
So I thought it was fine. But I thought like a lot of reactions were cute in this segment. Like,
Yeah.
Winter going like he's a liar.
Oh, he's a liar.
Yeah, I think he's liar.
I think he's
And
a liar.
like a lot of the confused reactions are pretty funny.
That's my homie. I know Harry.
I think
Oh yeah.
this video
yeah.
made me like Giselle a lot more too.
Mm.
Yeah, she was like really cute.
We have to talk about this because at least in this skit, it was kind of like, the guy, he's acting like a tour guide, and like Aespa is like new in New York. But like you pointed out, BM, I think Giselle was kind of able to stand out a lot because she is the English speaker of the group.
Mm-hmm.
And they went on another show, the Nick Cannon show. I honestly don't really know the guy. I didn't even know he had a show. But in there, like this one was kind of like an actual interview. It's no kind of skit. It's more of the girls talking. And yeah, in this one, you could kind of tell it was scripted. Like Ning Ning, Karina, and Winter all had this one time when they like answered a question like, pretty well, right?
Yeah, they had like a one-liner ready to go.
Yes, exactly. And you knew that like they prepared beforehand.
Yeah.
But and then like all the other like 99 questions were handled by Giselle, and it was funny because like pretty much like 90% of the time the screen was kind of focused on her, and Winter was like in the screen just because she was sitting next to her. And I always feel like it's the same with like Leah and Itzy, where it's kind of their time to shine. Like this is their base. The other members can't really do much, so it's kind of their time to shine. And yeah, so like, would you kind of agree that Giselle kind of thrives when she is outside of Korea? Because when she is in Korea, like, not to be rude, but the attention does go to like Karina and like Winter. And BM even mentioned that this was kind of a time when he started noticing more of her. So BM, I guess I kind of want to ask, like, what parts, what sections kind of got to you to start noticing Giselle?
I think it was particularly the Vogue segment where they were like in like a thrift shop. And she
So
was
this
like
was a different
like,
show, by the way. This is different
Yeah,
segment.
they did
yeah.
another Vogue skit, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, which is like kind of like part of their New York thing,
Mhm.
And she was like acting as like the kind of like the host, right?
Yeah.
Dubious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's when like she was kind of like standing out for me.
Because at that time there wasn't any host there, so she had to do it, right?
Yeah.
I think like one of the other things is since she is like the only English speaker of the group, the other girls kind of rely on her, so she in a way like de facto becomes the new leader. So
Yeah, I wish you hadn't picked this photo. I don't want to be looking at this photo while you're talking, but go ahead. Why'd you have to pick this photo?
No, I thought it was funny. Like the guy, like you could clearly tell he was just trying to like dance along.
You could also tell he prepped too, because he was like on it. Like, I mean, maybe he's a good dancer. I don't know Nick Cannon, but like he like knew what was coming.
The reason why I chose this picture too is because this was what the show was. It was basically Nick Cannon talking to Giselle. That's what the interaction was. But yeah. But on that topic of Aespa, something happened very recently, which is the 2021 Mama, and they took home 2 of the big awards of the night: the best dance performance for females, Aespa's Next Level, as well as the best new female artist. And I was kind of shocked because I didn't really know that they would have been considered a new female artist just because they did debut technically last year. While the best female group actually went to twice, and that kind of shocked me because I thought that was going to go to Aespa. But this happened, and one of the other things that did end up happening was Itzy actually didn't get any awards. Kind of wanted to stir a discussion on that. BM, I'll kind of start with you first. What did you think about that? Were you okay?
Regarding Itzy, I'm okay with it. I mean, so I think it's a fair result. I think Aespa's Next Level's deserving of best dance performance.
Oh yeah.
because it's pretty like I think it's like kind of like a spectacle to watch, you know. Like when you see it, it's kind of like a little jarring, but like you can't like stop watching. Um, and I like it personally, so I think that's deserving. And best new female artist. I mean, even though they technically debuted like last year, it was like late last year, right? Like
That's true.
pretty close to the.
Was it
To the
November
edge.
or was it December?
I think it was November. I think that's when it was.
Yeah.
So it's pretty
around
close to the
December.
edge. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's fine. You know.
Who else would they have given? If it was like starting from January, who did they give it to? That would be
See,
so awkward.
Yeah, okay. I guess that's true. I was originally thinking, like IVE just because of how well they did on the charts, and I originally thought it was always like of this year, like they had the debut of this year, but
Yeah, I don't know how I would have felt about that one.
What about Twice? I think a little surprising, personally, but I mean, their recent songs did pretty well, right? Like
yeah.
Yeah, album-wise,
some-
they did really well.
yeah, Scientists did well. I forgot which one was before that. Do you remember?
The English track. God dang it!
The feels, right?
The feels, right? The feels.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Dubious.
So, it's actually kind of interesting because the best dance performance, right? Like, I love Aespa's Next Level. Like, as a song, as a dance, I love it, right? But I'm gonna be honest. Watched Mama performances, and let's say you didn't know any groups, right? And you watched it, and you watched Aespa perform Next Level and Savage, and then you watched Itzy on their stage perform Mafia and Loco, and people said, "Hey, the best performance group is Aespa." People watching this would have been like, "Oh, they definitely got this wrong." Because if you watch the performances, granted, I think a lot of this might have been how SM approached this and how JYP approached it. Because SM, like Aespa and NCT, I think from all the performances I've watched, they just came out and performed a song like they would have done on Countdown or some other show. Stray Kids, Itzy, when they performed, like it was an actual performance. They had back dancers. Like Stray Kids had like a float in the middle of the stage. They had all props. Nugent had this whole like double agent storyline with the guy from Squid Game. The transition, like she did freaking like stunts and stuff, tossing people around as if they were questioning whether she was a good center or not.
Like, that's what Mama's about too.
This was the Mama performances that I missed, right? And so, with that being said, giving the award to Aespa, I think in the like leading up to the performance, I think it's perfectly fine. Like I think Next Level is a great song. I think the dance is cool. I do think the dance for Next Level was more what is it? Oh God, I forget the name, but like it went well with the audience more so than Savage.
Yeah.
Iconic, maybe iconic's a better word, or like people remembered a lot more. So I get that Next Level is the song that they give the best performance to. But man, if you just watch this performance alone, or Mama 2021, you'd have thought like Itzy was out there trying to steal that award.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Wait,
I mean,
I just realized I'm probably gonna be crucified.
Yeah, you're gonna come out as an Itzy hater.
Yeah.
No, but I honestly think it was something that SM and JYP, like the difference that they approached to this. So, it's not Aespa's fault. It's just that on such a huge stage, their performance looked like really empty. But yeah, no, I'm not mad at the award though. I think they did a good job. I feel like though, it'd be hard for me to pass up Itzy, even though I didn't like their song as much. I do feel like they're more of a performance group, but best dance is a subjective thing, so I don't have any strong problems with it.
Yeah. Like I think the only other contender that I could have thought of for the best dance performance would have been Stacy's ASAP. Just because I do have to consider like what trended in Korea, like what people kind of remember, you know.
Yeah.
But I do think that Aespa kind of had bigger landing when it comes to trendiness, especially because they did rank very high on individual brands, and I think that also kind of counts in. Because yeah, like Mama votes, they like consider like 4 different categories, and trendiness is probably one of them, as is with like group and individual indexes. So yeah, I also think it's very well deserving of them.
Speaking of that, it's probably it's really interesting that like Stacy's concept is more like their dance choreo wise is more like cutesy as opposed to like strong like Aespa and like Itzy. So it's like no it's kind of like understandable why ASAP was so trendy because like the general public was able to like follow along on like TikTok and stuff, you know.
Right.
It reminds me of early Twice days, you know.
Like Cheer Up Dance or TT Dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and is it any coincidence that the composer for TT and like Cheer Up it makes you know songs for Stacy? I don't know.
Black Eyed
I don't know.
Peterson.
Yeah.
That's right.
I don't know if you had this note in your slides, but did you guys see Ed Sheeran's performance?
Oh yeah, I did. Bro, I thought he was actually gonna show up.
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not.
He wasn't even there.
He was
This
not.
was the easiest payday of his life.
Yeah.
Like we thought he was gonna show up there. I'm like, okay, props to this guy. But I
guess
mean,
he didn't do quarantine rules. I don't know. I guess he didn't want to.
That's the thing. I think there were. Now, if there was no pandemic, would he still have not come? Who knows? I'm not sure, right? True. But I'm sure this made it more complicated because of the whole quarantine rules.
Right.
But god dang, I thought he was gonna be there.
Yeah. Usually, like that's one of the highlights about Mama too, is like the international artists. But
yeah, like 1 or 2 random international artists.
Right. But yeah, that didn't happen. I was kind of sad too. Like usually, you know, like the audience kind of gets hyped up and they're cheering on, but this one it kind of wasn't like that. It felt like a virtual performance. Kind of missed out.
Yeah. Instead, we got a one-on-one reunion. That was good. I like the energetic. I'm glad that they performed that song.
Yeah.
That's your favorite, right?
Yeah, out of the songs that they promoted, yeah.
Yeah, funny enough, it's their debut song too. So.
Wait, what? Energetic?
Because that
Are
feels
you
so
sure?
Energetic. Yes.
You're sure?
You could search it right now. I am 100% sure.
All right, people, if he's wrong, then you know our insider is corrupted.
Going on to the next topic, Kep1er came out with her second episode of Kep1er View. I can't believe that this was what I had heard, but apparently this is actually the last episode.
It seems like it.
Yeah, no. And the reason why is because this was because originally they were supposed to debut on December 14th, which would have been just a few days after this episode aired, you know. But it got, you know, their debut got pushed back, so. But yeah, this was kind of like the last episode for them to do before their official debut, and I think right now they're just kind of quarantining, not doing much. Kind of wanted to ask actually, because it was the second and last episode, did you guys wish you could have seen anything else from these girls? We did get like a good 2 long episodes. We got them like cooking in this episode. We got one of the teams going for bungee jumping, and then them kind of like reading letters to each other. You guys wish you could have seen anything else? Dubious, I'll start with you.
Honestly, not really, just because I feel like most girl groups that do debut, we get even less than this. So I'm actually perfectly fine that we get even 2 episodes of girls in their kind of more natural environment. So no, I mean, I you know, I watched this with BM and we both agreed that we felt like the production value was pretty good. They actually put some effort into it. Like the segments weren't just like boring or just old recycled stuff. Like I felt like they actually tried to show the sides of girls that like we didn't see on JYPn and 9. Like I think even the game that they played where they try to guess each other's or actions, the other team's actions was good, because it showed us that, you know, the girls trying to think about or it kind of showed how closer they were already, right? Because you can only guess other people's moves if you know them. So no, I mean I didn't. I mean, sure, if they came out on other shows, it'd be great. But I wasn't particularly like, oh man, I really wish they would have done this.
Yeah. Oh, BM, did you have any thoughts?
Oh, before I say that, Insider was right.
Energetic was debut.
Yeah.
Hey,
Gosh, dang it!
as always.
One
It's
more for the
the
bad guys.
it's the lead single of the first extended LP.
That's right.
All right.
Encyclopedia over here.
Regarding Kep1er, I enjoy the show. I think I agree with Dubious. I don't think like I could have expected anything more. Like while we were watching, we were talking about like how you mentioned like the production value was so high. Like the house that they rented is really nice, the venue, and like even like scheduling like the bungee jumping event, like that's a lot of money already, you know. And then even like the bus that they were taking to like ferry them to like the bungee jumping site. While me and Dubious were watching, I was like commenting how like the chairs that they were sitting in inside the bus was like nicer than my room.
Oh wait, really? Oh, I don't remember.
They were
Yeah.
super nice chairs.
Yeah, the chairs were really
Oh.
nice. I was like, damn, the chairs are like nicer than my room. If like Dubious remembers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean like, and, like the show was like a really good showcase of the camaraderie of the group. Yeah, a lot of cute moments. Yeah, I thought a lot the girls that stood out to me during the shows were Youngun, Taeyeon, and Chaeyeon.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the girls that stood out to me. I thought they were like so cute on the show, and they did like a good job of variety.
Cheon was like a total like housewife in this episode. I don't know. She just kind of gave me that girlfriend kind of vibe.
Yeah. She kind of reminded me like Chaewon, you know?
It's the
Damn
hair.
this guy, dude.
Yeah, it's the hair. It's
Dude,
the hair.
This guy sees something he likes, and the girl is just like,
No,
you
it's
know what it reminds me of?
It's the strawberry blonde hair. It's the strawberry blonde hair.
Dude, insert either Chaewon, Haewon, or like Yuri.
It's definitely the hair because Cheon's done this hairstyle.
Yeah, the strawberry blonde hair.
Right.
Get out of here.
And I think it's also kind of just like very innocent and like soft, like I don't know, facial feature, I guess. Like both of them look very, very young.
Thought facial.
Yeah. Oh, let me guess, Dubious, you didn't like Yesel's hair this time either.
It was okay. This one was fine. The person that actually stood out to me, and you know, BM also agreed with me to a certain point too. But like, so I will 100% admit I was never a big Hikaru fan. Like going into the show, I like her, you know, like I just never really understood the hype around her. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like even throughout the show, and I was like, I think she's good, but I think there were other like Japanese contestants that were equally as good, just weren't given the spotlight and didn't have like that springboard of the first episode, you know?
Right.
But on this show, like in the second episode specifically, like there were a lot of moments where she showed like her true self. That was actually very endearing.
It's very different
like,
from what you have expected, right?
Exactly. Like we kind of think of her as like, oh, like the strong dancer,
right,
who like was criticized by the judges for doing like one type of like facial expression, right, throughout the show. But like here, like we saw her as like just like a younger girl who like was having fun. It was like very cute. Like I will say like I don't know what kind of salad she grew up eating. That tomato salad she made was the worst salad I've seen ever seen made. That was a terrible salad. No. Hikaru made it. Someone asked her to put tomato in the salad, and she cut up like so much tomato and put it into the salad.
Wait, I thought that was Yeshal.
No,
I
the
think
picture
that's
you see
Hikaru.
at the bottom. Yeah, the picture you see at the bottom is their reaction to Hikaru's
Oh,
salad.
I see.
Yeah, so like, but even that was like cute in a way, right? And
Yeah.
I was like, I was glad to see that side of her. Like that's what I kind of wanted to see from the show, right? Where it's like, I've definitely missed out on some things while watching PG 999, and like, or sorry, GP 999. And this is the type of thing that comes out of the show, where you see the girls more in their natural environment, and then you kind of learn more about them. And Hikaru was the one that kind of stood out to me.
Yeah, she was definitely the one that shocked me the most in this episode. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, she was really quiet in the first episode too.
Right.
So I think that was the turnaround for the second episode was kind of surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not PG-13, PG 999.
That joke. But well, I'll go with it.
Wait, BM, I wanted to ask you. You said Wonyoung kind of stick out to you. Can you explain like what sections, what moments?
Like, I think moments when she was like at the bungee jumping site,
Mhm.
like how she's like, oh, it's not like as high as I thought.
Oh yeah, it's not that high.
Yeah, I thought like she was like that was pretty cute. And then when like she was up there, like her mannerisms are really cute. Like even in the still that we have up here, like I think like she was like very pretty. Like I think like she stood out in that way.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, can I give one criticism to the production team?
Go ahead.
Okay, maybe it's two, but I'll think about whether I want to do the second one or not. Okay, so you know how at the end where like both teams come back together and they're outside and like they're ready to eat and perform and whatnot, right?
Mhm.
They made the girls like guess each other or reveal their guesses to the other team,
Mhm.
and then like watch the performance, and then they ate. And
Oh,
I'm just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
dude, it's
Yeah.
so cold outside.
Yeah.
Hurry. Let
Yeah.
the girls eat first, you stupid
right.
dummies.
That's right.
The
That's
food
right.
has probably gotten cold by the time
That's
like they
right,
did all that
that's right.
stuff. I was like, what? Who planned? I mean, like, oh my man. As I was watching, I was like, guys, there's like rotisserie chicken outside too. I'm
Mhm.
like, dude, that's gonna get cold. And like we definitely know the show got clipped. So like, if anything, those girls waited to eat that food longer than like what we saw in the show.
That's right.
And so like by the time they got to the food, it was probably just like ice cold. And I was like,
Yeah.
God dang it, dude, you guys should
Yeah.
let the girls eat first.
Like, look at what the girl's wearing. It's like total winter clothes. So
Yeah, no, the girls are freezing.
yeah.
So was the food. By
And
the
that's
time
what the fire
they
things in
got
the
to eat it.
background are there too. You see the fire things in the background. There's like 4 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what the team were thinking. Should have just let the girls eat first.
Did you have a second complaint? Did you want to say?
I did, but this is a little less. But
No,
like,
just say it.
okay, I think the little ball capsule thing on the left,
Mm-hmm.
I think was stupid as hell.
Well, I
Like,
was gonna mention that.
dude, like, why do okay? Here's the thing. They kind of like redeem themselves by having the notes on the inside, but literally throughout the show, it's like they made a big deal about it. They had like the stupid woman announcing from it. And like they filled the gauge, and like okay, I think the thing that bothered me most about it was like the show felt very natural, and then they put something so scripted, right? Like this isn't Running Man where it's like, oh, if you fail the missions, we can't open it.
Right.
Like of course they're gonna fill the gauge anyways, right? Like it's not like at the end it's like, oh, if the girls like didn't guess it correct, it's like, oh well, like well, I guess we just can't. You guys failed. Like maybe next time, right? But we know they're gonna fill all the way. It's just like why'd you do the whole scripting thing? Why do we have to wait for the balls to fall on the machine? But then at the end they redeem themselves by being like, oh, we have a little note on the inside from fans. I'm like, all right, now I feel a bit like a dick. But then at the same time it's like, dude, but then like someone in the production team told all the interns to like write little
yeah.
in all the individual balls. I'm like, okay, now that makes me mad again because I'm like, why the hell did they do that? Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
God.
No, but I definitely agree with you on the food thing. I remember like watching that. I was just like, wait, they now get to eat? Like they probably did like an hour of recording outside. And the food was sitting with them too. It wasn't even like waiting inside, I don't think. But yeah.
No, my show was probably like, damn, I made curry for everyone.
Yeah,
And
that's
by the
right.
time
Japanese
they eat
curry.
it, it's gonna be freaking cold.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they probably have the microwave again. I don't know.
I hope they did. They didn't look like it though. Dude, like I think the girls on the left, I think it was Taeyeon, Yeseo, and I forget who or maybe Hikaru. They didn't eat the chicken that was in front of them by the end of the show. Yeah, it was probably just frozen ice, dude.
No, Hikaru's on the right.
Oh, who's on the far
Sorry,
left?
not Hikaru. Yeso's on the right.
Oh, really?
On the
Wait.
far left, it is Taeyeon that she's the blonde. Hikaru's the far left, and in the middle, I think that's.
Oh wait, no. It is Yeso. Sorry.
Yeah, it is Giselle. It is.
Sorry, I
Giselle.
was thinking of Youngwon. Sorry.
No,
Okay.
Youngwon's on the right with the
Yeah.
bun.
With the bun, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is Yeso. And then it's Shouting.
Then your girl
Taeyeon.
Cheon. Then Eugene.
Yeah, did you guys like that setup? Did you like that first place in the middle, followed by the 9th place?
Damn.
No, we all love Sean Shouting, but
yeah.
isn't it kind of interesting though? You know?
I'm telling you, in some of their with like pre-debut photos, they kind of have it where like those two are always in the center as well. I think it's being done on purpose.
It has to be.
Yeah.
You just had a lot of haterade, huh? What a hater.
We will see. I mean, they're like, even though their debut got pushed back, they'll probably still have some other pre-debut photos coming out. So, but yeah, we'll see how the standing and seating arrangement is for those ones. But yes, please do make sure to look out for their debut. They'll be debuting in the first week of January, just right after New Year's.
Are you sure about that? You've gotten that wrong like twice already.
No, it's okay. I forget
it's set in stone now.
It's either the 3rd or 5th of January, but I'm sure it's one of those 2 dates, 100%.
I hope you're wrong. I hope you're wrong, Playboy.
No, in comments you could come attack me, but I know you're wrong. All right. So
all right.
Moving on to the next topic. I've appeared on Weekly Idol recently. This was kind of their first like official variety appearance. And this was kind of like also the first time I feel like I was able to see the girls like individually, without like some like group talking all the time. And I'm not gonna lie, like one of the girls especially, I'm not gonna say specifically who right now, but she definitely did stick out to me. She was not someone that I expected. And I think each of these 6 girls kind of prepared well for this episode. I kind of wanted to ask you boys first if you had like any memorable moments or standout member. BM, I'll let you start off first.
Wait, Insider, this is like the most leading slide ever.
Exactly.
This is the most leading. And you're like, someone stood out? I won't say who.
Yeah,
but someone stood out.
I did it on purpose. BM.
I wonder if it's Iseo in the corner. Or maybe Eugene in the corner.
Oh yeah, definitely those echoes. Yeah.
Personally for me, I think Ray stood out. I really like Ray. I think her reactions are really funny. I think her like kind of like she's apparently like timid, but like she's actually kind of like witty and funny and stuff. Especially when like they're talking about like how they shared, or she let Eugene borrow gym clothes. And like how they're talking about like how she had more friends.
Oh, yeah, she straight up said Eugene was no friends.
Yeah, that's something that was so funny. I was like, dude, this girl is like goated. But yeah, she stood out to me. I think Liz also stood out to me. Like obviously, like she's like in this thumbnail.
Bro, yeah.
We all know like, but she was like really funny, you know, with her like potato thing, dude. That was so ridiculously funny.
It got to me. Like I don't know why.
Yeah. It's actually funny because it actually had a byproduct effect. Because it made me like Eun-hyuk more as a host because of his like just like his reactions and his like playing off of this like segment. It was just it was just so funny because it was so weird. Yeah, Liz was really funny and she stood out to me.
And then Wonyoung had her do it one more time after like Wonyoung did the winking.
Yeah,
So she could do the winking and the ski.
yeah.
That was pretty cute. What about you, Dubious?
I mean, my answer is pretty much the same. Like, for me, like, Ray stood out because she was so different from what I saw in the music video. Right, in the music video, it was like she was like very strong and like charismatic. And I think all the girls in the music video kind of came out that way. But Ray on the show like was very like soft spoken and very like innocent feeling. That I was just like, oh wow, that's like completely different from what I was expecting. But yeah, no, I mean, she caught my attention, and of course, like what as everyone said, like Liz's song was it just cut right to my core. It was great. Like it was one of those things where it's like you're so embarrassed you can't watch it, but you can't do anything but to watch because you're like, what's going on, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what more Liz brings to the table. Granted, like I will say I'm not a huge slapstick type of person, so I can't have like a good example is like Taeyeon doing her eagle dance. It's fun the first time, but the second time it's hard to digest, right? And it's hard to watch. And so like I hope this isn't her thing where maybe there's people that like it, so if she does it for them, I don't really care. But I hope there's other parts of her personality that kind of shines out instead of her just doing this potato song every show she goes on.
Yeah. No, I think go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, it was actually really funny because I think Ray was presenting Eunhyuk and Kwangi with her drawings, right, Dubious?
Yeah, at the very beginning.
Yeah. And then Dubious is asking me, all right, BM, rate it, right?
Oh, the drawings.
Because
BM has a background.
I went to art school, so like Dubious was like, all right, BM, rate it. And I was like,
he was like quiet.
I was like quiet, and he's like, all right, it's telling enough. And I was like, no, hold on, I'll rate it, right? And then I was like, all right. So personally, like, I'll give it a beep.
I'll add like a 3 out of 10.
That was lower.
No. You can't add that.
Like, it was a 3 out of 10.
No, damn.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. No, go ahead.
I just want to say, I think it was one of the things why like it kind of stood out was initially I thought it was just gonna be like Wonyoung and Eugene and the girls, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't. It actually seemed like Ray, Liz, and the girls, and I think that kind of got to me a little bit because, these girls kind of knew that they might have been background, so they might have kind of like prepared this individually as well. But it was one thing I was kind of happy about too was that these girls were kind of able to stand on their own and not just rely too much on like Eugene and Wonyoung.
One thing I did want to mention though was that I was surprised, or I'm glad that Eugene is the leader. You know, I know she may have like insecurities that she like expressed like on the show that like she may feel like kind of like timid about like being vocal as leader and stuff. But like I think she's doing a good job. And I think I wouldn't have any other person be the leader.
Is she the oldest?
No, the oldest is Karl, the top middle.
Yeah.
And then I think Eugene is the second oldest.
I see. But yeah, I mean,
because Ray, Wonyoung, and I think Liz
are like similar age.
Are 04s, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and then we have like 107.
Yeah, which is easy on the part.
Yeah. Eugene's like what?
03.
03, yeah.
No, but I agree. Even in like IZ1, I feel like Eugene kind of did take like a role when like they were on Fridays. Even more than like her older sisters, which like it was like most of the group. So yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think Eugene was a good pick for leader in this role.
But yeah, I have a take that I want to share with you, Insider, because BM and I were talking about this while we were watching the show. And it's a little spicy, so if I get hate, I'll accept it. So we're watching the show, right? And we're watching all the segments, and then Wonyoung comes on and she does her things, right? She does her she does her Wonyoung things, and I'm sitting there like,
Ooh.
we know this group, right? It's like the center is Wonyoung. We know that, right?
Right.
But we're sitting there like, something is. Every time she comes on and says something's a little off, right?
Spicy.
Like we're like, we don't know exactly where to pinpoint it. But then I was telling BM, I'm like, I think this is an analogy I would say. I'm like, if like an alien life form was to look down at Earth, right, and was like, all right, we're gonna take over Earth, and it's like, we're gonna send like a figure to infiltrate like different industries or like the government or something, right?
Right.
We're gonna create like an android, right? Dude, Wonyoung would be that figure in the K-pop industry, because like, and the reason why that is I'll say this: she does everything perfectly. What I mean is, every question that they ask her, she answers it like perfectly. But on the flip side, it's very robotic. It's almost like she was just raised to become a K-pop idol.
For me,
You know?
it's like she's the uncanny valley of K-pop. She's like, yeah, like her movements are just so just slightly so perfect, you know. Like her mannerisms and stuff.
Dude, even when they were doing like when they were all showing like their individual talents, right? She's like, eyebrow or like the winking fast, right?
Oh yeah.
And here's the thing: if Defcon or Hyungdong was there and she did the winking thing, they would have grilled her. But like, whatever. Eunhyuk and Kwang Yi were like, "Oh, that's so cool." The part that made me feel like she was an alien was the fact that as she was doing it, she was so confident that it was like a cool thing, and I'm just like, this is what an alien life form would think that we'd want. And dude, I'm gonna get so much hate. But like, as I was watching, I was like, okay. And first of all, I like Wonyoung. I want everyone to know that in Produce 48, I liked her, and when she was in IZ*ONE, I liked her.
That's right.
Hater alert.
No, I liked her. You can go back on my messages on everything. I like Wonyoung, and she's above par for me. But it just, when you're watching her, something feels off. And like BM described, it's like the uncanny valley.
Okay, interesting. Did you feel this when she was in IZ*ONE too, or?
Well, I've always felt that when she was in Produce 48, like the moment we saw her, I think it was like she came out with Yujin and this one other girl from Starship.
Yeah.
Like even even if you look at her figure, right, just as like a body type, right?
She's like a Barbie doll.
She's like a Barbie, exactly. She's a Barbie doll.
Yeah.
And so from that moment on, I'm like, oh, like she's different. In like a flawless term, right? Like she's kind of, and like every single episode in Produce 40 I was watching, I was like, oh, she's like the perfect K-pop idol. But then like something feels off where you're like, it's perfect, but it's almost robotic in a sense, you know?
I see.
But I mean, I want to also say that like it's probably because she started doing this at such a young age that like this is what she knows, right? And she's an expert, and then she's a professional at it. So I'm not giving her like crap. I'm just saying, like, as a person who's watched like, K-pop since my earlier years, it's just like, oh man, like it's almost getting like a little weird how good of a K-pop idol these girls can get, you know?
Is that also maybe one reason why Ray kind of stuck out to you, was because she was very timid and she was just kind of acting more like a normal person?
Exactly. You had a human next to an android, so I just gravitate towards a human.
I see. Interesting. VM, did you share these thoughts?
Hey, come on. Say yes. What are you doing?
Comment.
What the hell are you? You were agreeing with me yesterday and you won't say it here?
No, my official position is decline to comment.
Oh my god.
Okay. Guess you're on your own, dude.
Okay, I'm gonna evil at you so bad this episode.
Diplomacy.
I'm gonna say like I'm gonna like make my voice sound like yours. I'm gonna give it's gonna be your take instead of mine.
All right. Well, these girls are performing very well right now. They've sold already thousands and thousands of albums. They're the best performing or best selling debut girl group of this year.
Isn't it all time? I saw an article
Yeah, you're
of all
right.
time,
Not
right?
just of
Yeah.
this year, but of all time. Yeah. Um, so yeah, they're definitely off to a good start. And the girls are showing diverse characteristics throughout. And the other girls besides Eugene and Wonyoung are kind of able to carry on their own in terms of variety as well. So yeah, I definitely have a good feeling for them. And I
I
hope
like
you
the
guys.
debut.
Oh yeah.
I liked Ray's like 2 lines. I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
song 11. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I like Ray. I wish she had more lines. But yeah.
Yeah. So make sure to look out for them. Going on to the last topic of the night, and this is one I kind of want to discuss in length, was JYP recently confirmed that these 7 girls were like the set group, that they're all so and so qualified for debut, debuting in February of next year. And I kind of want to go into discussion because there's been a lot of comments around these girls about like, oh, who would be like the main vocal, and like, oh, what kind of like concepts would they do? Yeah, and that's all kind of like up to the air. And definitely this topic that we're going to talk about is up to the air too. But I kind of wanted to analyze the girl groups that JYP has uh, done and kind of see like, formulas and kind of like the structures and kind of what we might expect for JYPN. So kind of like the first things I kind of want to ask you guys was how JYP structures their girl groups. Like if there is a structure, like is there like roles set in the group? Like even though Twice and Nichu, the Japanese girl group on the bottom left, even though those 2 groups were formed out of a competition show, these girls were first picked by JYP and then they went on the survival show, So JYP definitely has some kind of almost like a formula or a list for what they look in those girls. And I kind of want to ask you guys, how do you think JYP structures their girl groups and like what they kind of tend to choose? Dubious, I'll kind of let you start first.
Yep. I'll start first. Also shout outs to one of the girls in Missy who apparently Insider just completely
Yeah,
ignores.
no, I was considering the girls that are active right now.
Damn, Susie's really active. How dare you?
You get a slide for them too.
Damn, Yubin's been playing soccer too. How dare you? Let's see. Okay, so man, like this is such a hard question. But I kind of want to talk about some things that we know are for sure, right? Like, and this is more like I'm just bringing like a data point to the table, and not so much as like this is definitely. Oh, sorry. I literally start off this by saying this is what we know for sure, and I almost finished by saying I'm not sure. But like I'm just gonna bring another data point to the table, and then I guess maybe we can discuss about it a bit more. But in 2018, and I had to look this article up. I remember reading about it back then, but I had to bring it up again. So JYP in June of 2018, he went to a talk called Spark Labs Demo Day. It's like a conference where like startups or innovative companies kind of or like leaders come out and talk about their products or what they're doing in their industry. And he went as a speaker and he talks about JYP 2.0. And there was a couple things that he talked about, but I remember when I was back then, what caught my eye was he said that in 2016 he began what he calls an experiment. He assembled a task force of marketeers or marketers, promoters, to handle one artist. And so he was saying that JYP as a company went from having like a single marketing division for all artists to having individual marketing teams for individual artists. And that experiment, the first team that came out of the experiment was Twice. And he said that 2 years past that, seeing how successful that kind of that strategy has been, he was like, okay, like the way that we're gonna move on with feature groups in JYP from now on is gonna be similar to this. We're gonna have individual marketing, or like we're gonna have marketing teams like promoters and stuff. We're gonna create like a small task force for each individual idol group. And he even said back then, he foreshadowed the debut of Nichu by saying we're gonna create an all Japanese girl group or all Japanese K-pop girl group, and we're gonna employ the same tactic on them. So I'm sure Itzy and Nitsu are part of that program where it's like they have their individual task force. And so like the reason I bring that up is because the question was, what kind of concerts are they gonna do? Like how are they gonna be different from each other, right? I honestly don't know if we really know, just because like we don't know how these task force teams like interact with each other, right? And whether I'm sure, since they all are under JYP, they have similar goals, but I just don't know like how like what the similarities will be. Like we talked about last week, or sorry, like two weeks or something like that. Like the way that JYPn is promoting their debut is so different from how Twice did it, right? Like Twice never like released like covers and things like that like before debuting. They're more of like a variety show group. And so like I think the only thing we know for sure is that in Twice, in Itzy, and then with Nitsu, JYP has produced some of their songs. Just to list off a couple, I had to look this up. So JYP did Do It Again, I'm Gonna Be a Star, and then one of the bigger Twice songs that he first took on was Signal, and he's like, What Is Love, Feel Special. And so like 2020 he did a lot of them. He did More and More, Can't Stop Me, and Cry For Me. And then with Itzy he did Icy, Not Shy, Mafia, and then with Nitsu he did a song called Make You Happy. I'm not quite sure what that song is.
That's the debut song. Nichu.
Oh, is there the debut song? Okay.
Yeah.
So like I guess one thing that we know for sure maybe is that JYP will be involved in at least some of their songs, or maybe even their debut song. But like we've also seen with like we mentioned before, with TT and Cheer Up and like UA, that like he's okay with having other producers like Black Eyed Peas like make some of their girl group songs. So I guess the only thing we can be sure of is that he's okay with other people producing JYPn songs, but at the same time, I would expect him to be like the person that kind of creates the concept of JYPn.
I see.
And like it shows that because like they're commercially successful, these groups, like despite like having like their individual like branding teams, or I guess like it's like the JYP formula, and it's working, as it shows like on the charts and stuff. Because like they might not be like the most like the top of the top groups, but like they have like their own dedicated fans that are like loyal. So they'll always do well. Like especially like at Twice, they're veterans, but like they still do well. They have like a dedicated like fan base. And like one can debate like they might not be the top of the top, right? Like the hottest like group right now. But I mean they're still like massively successful. I don't know about Nishiyu because I don't have any knowledge on them.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they're doing well in Japan.
Insider, they're doing well, right? You know a bit more about them.
Yeah. So we definitely don't get a lot of news on Nichu just because they don't really appear. But as you guys know, like Japanese broadcasting systems, they tend to not release like videos.
They're terrible.
On like YouTube. Yeah,
They're so
they tend
bad.
to keep it for themselves. And Nichu sadly kind of falls into that trap because most of the broadcasting systems they go on are Japanese, but they are doing incredibly well in Japan. They're ranking like in the top of the list when it comes to girl groups, right? And when I'm talking about the top, I'm talking about like they even beat out like AKB sometimes. So they're definitely up there. So yeah, you're right. Yeah. Guess one other thing I also want to kind of talk about is I guess tackles on one of Dubious' point about how each of these groups have their own task force. I think we'll all agree that these task force still kind of talk to each other. Like Itzy's task force kind of saw what Twice was doing, and they didn't want to go. Like if they were thinking about doing Twice's concept, they're like, no, we shouldn't do that, just because like companies say we don't want like two girl groups battling it out. We should do something that's maybe on the opposite spectrum, and that may be one of the things that JYPn's task force is doing as well. I think that was also one of the reasons why one of you said their concepts may be more similar to Twice than Itzy. Just because, like, yeah, Twice they're kind of in they're veterans now. They're like coming to their 7th year, but like Itzy, they're still kind of like running strong. Only 3 years through. So I guess in terms of genre, would you still say that it's pretty hard? Like at least maybe one genre that you think they could gear towards? I think BM, I'll kind of let you tackle this on first because I remember you said that they might do Stacy's concept just because these task force might see what genre is like undersaturated, and then they see Stacy doing well because Stacy's kind of in their own genre of like school pop, like very young teen feels. So do you think there might be a genre that they go towards?
Yeah, honestly, I have no clue. I don't want to say anything because like I don't want to be like called out for being wrong. Like
We could be
severely
so
wrong.
off on this. We could be
Yeah.
so off.
Yeah, I don't want to be so off on this. But I don't know. So far, like it seems like dance is like a big part of their team, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So Stacy's not really super dance heavy, I would say.
Mm.
Their choreo is like catchy and like fun and like bubbly, but like not like super intensive,
It's not like Itzy levels, yeah.
Yeah, which is what I think JYPn is trending towards, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely don't think they would have just shown these teasers and then go for like a vocal group.
Yeah, but like, sorry, sorry, BM, go ahead, finish your thought.
No, that's it.
No, I was gonna respond to Insider saying they're not gonna be a vocal group because, like, there was a commenter in one of our YouTube videos saying like, JYPn is gonna be more of a vocal group, and like, the more I think about it, right, I'm like, yeah, they could be, and I think I forget who mentioned it. Maybe it was either you or maybe it was BM, but someone brought up Mamamoo, right, and they were like, maybe they could be like the next like maybe more performance heavy Mamamoo, and I was like, yeah, maybe, like, but there's a couple things that I'm like, oh man, I don't know if that's the route they're going to go down. First being that like it's a JYP girl group, and JYP himself, like if anyone has followed his career, you like he loves his dance. Like
yeah.
He's a performance guy, right? And so it'd be so, I feel like, not in the DNA of JYP to release a girl group that is like maybe focus is the wrong word, but where like it's like purely vocal and very little dancing. Like,
Right.
and I feel like the more that you've seen of the girl groups that are coming out from like Wonder Girls to Miss A to even Twice now to Itzy, like the performance has gone up and up. And even in like Twice themselves, like I feel like a lot of their dances have gotten more sophisticated over time. And maybe nowadays kind of plateaued out because the girls are getting a little older and it's not as easy for them to recuperate and perform all these songs. But like that makes me think like, man, this group, I think they're gonna be dance, like they're gonna be performance heavy. And if you go back one photo, and this is gonna be like one of those like details that I'm gonna look back and be like, this was kind of useless. But in the coming soon photo on the right, it's a screenshot you took from their video that they released recently, right? Oh, nice, thank you. I looked at their outfits. I was like, okay, maybe they're not gonna be like dance heavy. But then I looked at their shoes and they're flats, right? And I'm like,
that only means one
if
thing.
this is a photo shoot for one back, or like even their video, or like a scene from their music video, why would they be wearing flats if they're a vocal heavy group, right?
Right.
And so I'm like, am I freaking Sherlock Holmesing this, or am I just stupid, right? So I'll be able to, I'll look back on this moment and be like, whether I give myself a pat on the head or on my back.
I'm just gonna say right now, looking from this photo, I'm gonna stick to my guts, and I think the center is Ginny.
I was just about to ask. I was like, who the hell is the center?
Yeah.
Like we know the one with the pigtails is
Q, I
I
think.
forget.
Can we go back to that photo? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of remember here.
Yeah, I think
Q
it's Q,
has
yeah.
twin ponytails. Kyujin has a single ponytails.
Maybe Kyujin.
Okay, those two have the ponytails. Sorry, we're gonna Sherlock Holmes this, but I won't figure this out. A and Lily both have short hair. Okay, just remember that for those 4 girls. Girl on the very left, short hair. Girl second from the right, short hair. That's Lily M.
I think girl on the second from the right is Could you go back one photo? I forget their names. I think that's Bae. I feel like her hair is more Bae.
And then Lily M.
Yeah, where's Lily?
Lily M is the second from the right, or the first on the left. See, those 2 girls are the only ones with short hairs. So I feel like it would be them. And
Who's the ponytail on the left middle?
Yeah, left middle. I think that's
Maybe the twin tails.
Twin tails is Q, and then
God.
single ponytails is Kyujin. So it's those 2 basically.
Right.
That leaves us with Haewon, Seoryun. Those 2 girls have long hairs, and then Chinny kind of has a, different hairstyle. Basically, if you look at the very right and the third from the right, those are the long hair. So what does that leave you with in the very middle?
Right. I'm sure if you go on r/like JYPn, someone's figured this out already.
There you go. I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure she's gonna be a center. She just kind of gives that vibe as well. And I think she's also the one that kind of fits in the overall group. Like someone like Haewon or Seoryun give off very, very like one end of the spectrum, but Ginny I think has a more versatile image. Definitely.
Yeah, I think most centers in JYP or girl groups at least have been more well-rounded.
And it's definitely someone you also kind of want to represent the group, and for some reason, Chinny just kind of gives the sense that she would do a good job in that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. I guess one thing I kind of also wanted to add on was if you guys kind of like have any concerns for this group, or maybe like on the opposite end, like good feelings that you have for this group. Like for one, I'll definitely point out is these girls have a huge thing to accomplish, which is expectations, right? And it's not just from it's like it's not just the fact that they are from a big entertainment company. It's the fact that they've had a huge multinational girl group go mega popular, and then a girl crush group who also went mega popular. And it's pretty much expected from this group as well, Like I'm sure, like their first album, it's gonna do great in sales. But I think just kind of like in terms of reaction, like what these girls might feel when they debut, is the huge, like you said, the big shoes to fill, and that kind of like
you said the word huge feeling. Like 4 times.
Yeah, and that kind of like huge. I said it again.
Huge. There you go.
And that, that kind of like over burden.
Huge burden.
Fill the shoes. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Yeah.
Personally, they're not really on my radar.
Are you serious? Are you pissing me?
What?
Well, I thought they were on your radar.
No, not too much.
Dude,
is it because you still haven't seen a lot from them?
I don't know. Well, I'm sorry to that one commenter who really likes Haewon. I don't know. They're not really on my radar. Like, if you like ask me like, would I watch them over like Aespa or Stacy? No. Like in that sense, not really on my radar. Like whose content do I look up more for? Probably Aespa and Stacy.
Yeah.
Is that fair, Dubious?
I was thinking more like upcoming, like in the scope of upcoming girl groups. I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Well, like, can you give me more alternatives?
Like the hype company, like.
Oh.
like kind of like that, or like even like in the scope of like IVE or like some of the newer groups that kind of came out.
Kep1er,
Kep1er, yeah, there's another one.
Oh, I see. Oh,
Baby Monster.
for sure. Then
Baby Monster, there you go.
I'll probably look forward to Hype the most
Yeah, that's fair.
because of Cheon.
Yeah, I think that also makes sense just because we kind of know some of the girls there too.
Yeah.
We're wishing the best for them.
I personally, I haven't been this excited for like a girl group. I'm gonna be honest. Like, well, first of all, I'm like a JYP fanboy. So like every girl group that comes out from JYP, I'm like, or even every group. Like I really I follow Stray Kids for some time too when they came out. So like,
Interesting.
you know, I definitely bleed JYP. You know, but like from what I've seen, I'm like, I there's nothing I don't like. So I'm more, if anything, I'm just excited. Like I'm not particularly or worried. Like I do think there could be a possibility where like they go through the early Aespa phase where people are like, or if the debut song isn't like groundbreaking, some people might be like, oh, they're freaking flops. You know, they might already give them that kind of crap. But like, you know, give them like 6 months, a year. I'm kind of excited to see what they do, what their concept is. The only thing I guess that could raise the red flags for me is like, let's say like their name's like really bad. Like I wouldn't. Please just get the name right. And like,
What if it's
if
JYPn?
you know what, JYPn isn't even the worst like name in the past like couple of years. You know, like I as much as I liked IZ*ONE, I think IZ*ONE was a terrible name. Like so I mean I think Kep1er is a good name. I love Kep1er.
It was nice knowing you. People are gonna come at your neck.
No, all the IZ*ONE fans are just living in the past. So you know, I'm just joking, everyone. I like that one.
He's on the record saying he hates IZ*ONE.
And like the only other thing is like if the concept's like not good, you know. Let's just say like if they were more like a rockish kind of group, like vocal group, like oh man, I don't know how I would feel about that. I don't think that's the way they're gonna go down, but I'm just saying like if it's something weird where like it's like really experimental, I'm like, oof, I don't know about this. Or if they're like, oh, there's like 7 girls here, but you know we have 7 avatars. You know, like we have our avatar versions again. Yeah, we're actually not 4 members, we're 8 members. You know, like So I mean, those are like my small worries, but I'm really excited for this group. I am pretty excited for the Hype group too, just because I really like Sakura. But this group's probably my most anticipated.
Yeah. Yeah, it also kind of got me wondering, like, why all these big companies kind of decided to make this time period time to like debut their groups. It's not like a single factor that's kind of getting me, but like, you know, like JYP is doing one, Hybe is doing one, Starship is doing one. I'm pretty sure YG is going to do one soon. And then of course, Kep1er was from a competition show, so I guess they didn't really have much choice. But I think like in these next coming months, there's definitely kind of this competition between these incoming girl groups, and JYPn's kind of stuck right in the middle of that time period. But yeah, I think they especially kind of stand out just because JYP Entertainment is so good at producing girl groups. I think like if we were to kind of look at the history of girl groups, like JYP definitely does a good job in producing them. Like every girl group that JYP's produced, like, you know, landed a mega hit somewhere. And like, and this group has kind of a lot to carry on their backs, but from the videos that we've seen, they each possess like your remarkable skills, whether it's singing and dancing. And like each of them kind of have their own standout image. You know, it's not like some uniform, but like they kind of have their own feels to it. And yeah, I think there's definitely a lot to kind of expect from this group as well. Like we don't know anything about these girls personally yet. Like I don't even know that much about Lily just because I didn't watch K-pop Star. But yeah, I think it's definitely one thing. look out for. Yeah, I actually wanted to ask Dubious, do you know much about Lily? Kind of like her character.
I mean,
Anything
when she
like
came
that?
out on, she was a kid. She was just straight up a kid who, um, she was scouted for her vocal talents. JYP really, or JYP, who was a judge on the show of K-pop Star, really took a liking to her. And she went pretty far. Like, I mean, she never made it to like the final rounds or anything, but just for her age, like, all YG was there, JYP was there, and gosh dang it, who was the third judge? I know him.
Yuya?
You hear, yeah, right. You hear, they were all very impressed. We didn't see a lot of her like personality. Like we saw some clips of her interacting with her parents and her, I think, younger sister from Australia, or I think.
Yeah, she's Australian. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
And so like those are things we saw, but I mean, she just seemed like just like any regular, younger girl who was just, who just would love singing. That's all I could really tell from her.
Oh, so they just kind of showed like the stage side of her and like a few side cams.
Yeah, I mean, K-pop Star wasn't like, it wasn't like building the people to be like K-pop stars. They were just showing them as regular people that they were.
Okay. Let's see. Anything else I want to see? Nope, not yet. Well, yeah, there's definitely be more information coming out on JYPN. Definitely more teaser videos, I feel like, because we still have yet to see one of them all together as 7. So in the incoming month, and especially in the month of January, I bet we will start seeing those. So make sure to look out for JYPN debut in February of 2020. And
Not BM. BM doesn't care.
yeah. Well, that concludes our discussion regarding this week's news. Make sure to check out our previous podcast videos on our YouTube channel. And if you would like us to discuss any other topics, please do leave your comments and opinions down below. And of course, make sure to leave us a like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.